And here we are, everybody, 2-2 on the scoreboard, and anybody can take this series. Cincinnati Fear and FlyQuest Challengers is going the distance. Desirek, shout out to you for being the one to believe that it was going to go all 5 games. I was right there with you, bud. This is our chance to gloat in front of Cubby, who was like, gentlemen's sweet for FlyQuest Challenge.
Let's do the mashed potatoes.
You can ignore the fact that game 1 was an 8K gold lead thrown from FlyQuest, and, you know, it probably should have been a gentleman's sweep. But, hey, it's more fun. It's game 5.
Fair enough. It is game 5. So let's quickly talk about what happened in that last game before we start hyping up the rest of the day with a Rally Cry halftime show. Cubby, they did get the win. FlyQuest brought it back from a tough position. Good dragon stacking. Kind of been the name of the game so far this series.
I mean, it's been the name of the game for the tournament. I think that for FlyQuest, there was a big change of strategy, right? This was the first time they opted out of that bot lane handshake between the Jinx, Aphelios, and also the Thresh and the Tahm Kench. They said, all right, screw it. We're done with that. Fear proved they can play defense. Let's try the Kalista Nautilus. It was not clean at first. They managed to get a lead, and then they threw that lead, and they somehow brought it back. So props to FlyQuest. I really cannot say enough about the guts. They made some of the plays. I mean, backs up against the wall. They did bring it home.
Masu got that solo kill onto Faisal and then had an insane fight later on. And Desirek, Masu is a player. He's really showing us the highs and lows in this series. Like, he's had some pop-ups. He's had some rough fights. But he can show up in those clutch moments.
He's one of the most consistent players that we have in the NACL. And I've loved the development and growth that we've seen from him. And especially seeing him in that match, we saw it pretty much all live on display. Even with the moments where it seemed like FlyQuest were choking, Masu's like, yeah, watch me. And in fact, I gotta take off one of these buttons at this point. We gotta game serious. 5. We gotta get serious. Now,
I already have one off, but I can take. No, I'm not gonna take off another one. Let's reframe though for the teams, because at the top of the day we were talking about what it would mean for each of them to walk away with this win. The FlyQuest Challengers core. 3 of these members chose to play again together this year, bringing on Masu and Winsome. This would be the furthest run in a bracket for all 3 of these players if they can clutch out this win here. And that would solidify it was worth it. It was the correct choice to run back the core of this roster, and that would feel amazing for the players. Vindication for them.
Yeah, also just want to throw in Winsome, of course, took 5th, 6th in spring on the other side of the lower bracket with C9. So also would be his best finish, and also vindication for just coming back to NA and having such a better go of it. I mean, thinking about, you know, the perspective of Winsome from the community last spring where he was demoted from C9 versus now where people are like, can he even fix FlyQuest LCS, right? I don't think that's a fair question to consider. I just think it does speak to how well Winsome has been playing this split, how big he's been for this team.
No, and then on... Oh, finish up, Desirek. Yep.
No.
Take your time.
I think the same thing can be true over towards Spyrax and how much we've seen coming out from him. Because, you know, he was kind of a staple mid laner last year, was very flexible, but never showed that next level of play. But now that we have, like, FlyQuest as a full team and the shot calling coming through, you see Spyrax taking a lot more of these big plays that, you know, it might be Annie and whatnot, but still being able to have the wherewithal to get the Flash Tibbers onto the backline and hold it for the most pivotal moments. I do like what I've seen from Spyrax.
And he might not be the most mechanically intensive, but high impact, you know, or that's what we're looking for. And on the other side, for Fear, means a lot for the Cincinnati boys as well, because this would be the 2nd highest ever placement for an LCS unaffiliated team. No org. Honestly, we should probably put an asterisk next to that one as well, because when they won it, it was the split that the Academy teams only played a single round robin and then had like 2 months off.
There's no asterisk, man.
Okay, fair enough.
All teams have the same odds against them.
But the format was different. Since we've had the current format as it is with best of 2 regular season and then into this playoff format, this would be the furthest that an LCS unaffiliated team has ever made it if the Fear team can clutch out this win. And one more win for either team will pick up the victory series and be monumental for both of them historically based on what the players have yet to achieve, what they're hoping to achieve, and what maybe could hint to what their futures still hold.
Heart's pumping,
Big stuff.
My heart's
Big
pumping.
stuff. It's pumping. So let's bring it in. Let's bring it in, Desrix. Do you have your guitar on you? Because I think it's time. I think it's time that we all live up to the tradition.
Oh.
You know what? They didn't give us
Grab
the song.
our musical instruments. Because we got to relive the series in the only way that we know how in League of Legends when it's a best of 5 going to game number 5. Starting off with game number 1. And we'll give a little wee woo woo.
This is about to be terrible.
Wee woo. Wee woo. Wee woo. Wee woo. Play little clips. Play little clips. Wee woo. Wee woo. Wee woo.
Where's the clip? Pull the clips up.
Play the clips.
The clips. This is the music for the clips.
There we go. Game 1. It was so close. 17,000 gold swing between these teams, but Perry finding the engages and the support, the top lane, keeping them in this. Faisal put on his carry pants in a way that I had not seen him do for quite a while. And game 1 was absolutely a banger. Desiree, I'm going to give you the next one as we get into game 2.
My memory's bad.
Cubby, you're on the next one.
All right. Well, the next game, FlyQuest bounced back. I think it was a little bit of Mastiff at the end. And also just Yuji, I mean, continues to be so impressive in this series. Game 2, I think, was his game. But game 3, we had a swap of strategies. And that's how I'm going to remind Desrex to talk about game 3.
Yeah, game 3, swap strategy. You're telling me to play guitar and freaking just
it's all right. It's all right. I think we can put the guitars down at this point.
I will not.
He's kind of a mess.
Okay.
But, you know,
he's just going to keep going. He's just going to keep going. I think one guitar is good enough. This was that game 2 where FlyQuest were able to bring it back, even up the series, and performances off of Masu on the AD carry is what I want to highlight here as well. The positioning, the spacing, that's what we were most impressed with throughout the split, Cubby, especially considering even when he was on the Wi-Fi, even when it was the long-distance gameplay, Masu was stepping up.
Yeah, I think the big difference of this game was the triple tank front line and how Masu was able to play around it with the rest of FlyQuest. Also, FlyQuest taking winning sides has been a big thing for them in this game, or this series, I should say. I think that game 3 was the one game that Fear has really been able to break that, as they didn't have the winning sides in game 1. Game 3, Fear broke it. Game 4 ended up being big for FlyQuest as Philip was big.
FlyQuest hanging on in these close fights. Philip pulling out multiple different champions throughout the series as well. Cool seeing the Gnar show up here. And then game 3, baby.
Yeah, this fight was ballistic. This was where I thought FlyQuest should have dropped the Elder after Masu picks this up. Because like Philip was cruising in the top side. Somehow, Fear were able to walk out with his first Elder Dragon. This is where like FlyQuest are hitting it. But Philip gets too low. He doesn't have TP as he committed it to make this play. So Faisal is able to actually join the fight after he chases him out. And that's how Fear turns this game around, gets the first Elder, and ends up getting the win.
Harry sticking around in the brush, catching somebody out here. And then also, this is one of those moments. We see the highs of Masu. We see the lows of Masu. The teleport from Faisal.
Yeah, he just gets stuck.
Marking the jinx. Not allowing the approach here.
Yeah,
and then Masu steps up a little too far.
And there really is no other choice. Like, he has to try and auto to steal the dragon, if anything. But it was doomed. I think FlyQuest continuing the objective was the mistake. They needed to try and reset. Or also, Philip, of course, didn't have the TP, so he had to fully commit. That's where Fear was able to turn around game 3. Somehow, that was probably the second or third best game of the series, as this was the play that really, like, FlyQuest are down 4k gold. They're down a man with a comp that gets outscaled. And somehow, FlyQuest is able to hero mode this fight. They get the sums out of Manui as he flashes. That becomes critical as they were able to take the next fight. And Masu just DPSs everyone down. Yuji helps find Manui. And that got Masu a 1k gold shutdown too, with Kalista got big in the last fight, as the angles from Philip and Yuji really, really good in this game. Made sure that we got to this point.
Being able to survive so long on the front line there by Masu, this much needed time. And right here at the end, it was almost the ace. He gets so close to it and just barely not there, but it wasn't necessary. The one clip that we didn't show was at the very end. Yuji getting that sick Lee Sin in sec with the flank from Philip, the deep flank on the Gwen.
You got so many, Steve. He
That's
was
a good question.
brutal with it.
That's a good question. Okay. Reframing. It means so much for both of these teams. For Fear, the highest placement for an LCS unaffiliated team since No Org took the first Proving Grounds. For FlyQuest, the deepest run for the top half of the map, the core that stuck together and said to the org, we want to play together. A win here means the world to both of these teams. So let's get into pick and ban for game number 5. Winner takes all and goes on in the lower bracket.
That was beautifully put, Kangas, but now we are ready to wrap this all up. A final game just waits in the wings. What's your reading, Cubby?
My reading is that we take the notes away. You know, we have this great phrase, you know, back in golf. At any point, you know, your season could be done, dusted. You can have to make a shot where you have to be prepared to make that shot in order to continue your season. All the practice, you know, all the bunker shots you put together, you put on the range, it could come down to, you know, that one last chance. That's it for each of these teams. It is win this game or bust out, make top 4, or your split's done. Everything's out the window, man. It's been a great series. Excited to see how this one wraps up.
It's been a great cast. It's been a great time overall for this match. Oh, man, and it all comes down to this. Loser goes home. Winner gets to go into the top 4. And Fear respond right away by taking that Gragas. Thresh is still up. FlyQuest, however, they do see that Sejuani's open. They're going to grab it.
I gotta say, I'm curious because this gives away Jinx, Thresh, but also they could take a Vi here if they want to actually show that Gragas flex early. That could be really powerful.
True, and I think we got Champ Select Silver scripts. This is a difference right here. This is
oh, again through the headphones too. I like this. We're getting some music here, getting the vibes.
Yeah, we gotta set the mood when we got a game this good.
Vigar now?
Shochi, very, very early pick onto that Vigar leaves him very susceptible for early parts of this draft.
I gotta say, Vigar makes Tahm Kench look a lot more appealing than Thresh if you're looking for the pairing for FlyQuest. I'm curious though if Jinx is just picked up now. It also shows that Gragas is not going to be put mid, which isn't a flex that Fear has shown before. But you have to take the Jinx if you want it. Instead, it's actually going to be a Manui Tristana, or is this going to be Vigar bot and Tristana mid? This could be Vigar bot.
Yeah, that could very well be the thing right there. We've already seen Shochi pull this out before for the Tristana in the mid lane. Be interesting to see that Vigar over in the bottom. Oh, meanwhile, FlyQuest going for the hover at the moment. I want to see what they're going to go for. This would be the smart pick. It provides so much protection to Masu. That Devour means that a lot of stuff that you throw over to Masu can get read by Winsome and taken off.
And again, like if you're Tahm Kench, you have a QSS, and then you also, you know, that's like the only QSS your team needs, right? You're the eat for everyone else. So I think that the flexibility from Fear, this is new. The only team that's been flexing Vigar bot was actually TLF, who were, of course, bottom forward in this tournament. So curious to see Fear play around with that here in the last game. They still have flexibility with the Gragas, too. So I'm curious, again, where FlyQuest throws their bans and what they end up picking mid. Because you have to play into either Tristana or Vigar. You got to know that at this point. So can Spyrax find a pick that maybe works into both so they can, you know, maybe save that Sejuani flex or, you know, change things up as things go on?
That's definitely going to be the tricky part. Reading where Fear want to allocate these lane assignments, you know, where they want to put these champions. Is this a bait? Is the big question that FlyQuest have to be wondering. Bans coming through, solo lanes. Fiora going to be taken off again. Philip not allowed to play that, as well as that reoccurring Renekton.
I mean, when they did have the Gragas, that is what broke things, and actually a Renata being taken away. That is surprising to me because they're actually going to give up the Thresh. Also, Gwen being taken. Do we see a Cassante deny? Because that setup tells me that they want Faisal on Cassante.
See right now, we got 15 seconds
Cassante's
before
FlyQuest
do lock in for that. It is solo lanes waiting to be locked in for FlyQuest. Cassante can get locked in.
Could be the option. You can run Gragas into the Sejuani into the Gragas if you want to give Yuji some playmaking. But no. Oh, they actually give Spyrax a Yone. I will say that means there's no magic damage showing so far for the side of FlyQuest. Gwen's taken away. Where can they find magic damage here?
We're going to have to see. I mean, solo lane, as you said, Gwen is taken away. That's the only magic damage topside I can really think of off the top of my head, unless we're going something a little bit more tanky to that regard. Oh, Trevor's going to pop the Rel right here. So we're just throwing it all on the table right now. We're just throwing it all on the table for this final game 5.
I do like the Rel. I feel like this does put Vigar maybe into the mid lane, as Tristana Rel is a good combo. Also, you can take the shield away from Tahm Kench. So that's going to be a mini game we see played between Trevor with that Rel Q and also the TK. It is a pick that does counter. Trevor's been really big in the series. as now last pick. Where is that Gragas going? It will be the Scion. So that means, again, if you want to find magic damage,
Gragas jungle.
where do you find it here? If you are Yuji, I mean, you're looking at like a Karthus if you put Sejuani top, and then fill up topside. His AP picks Gwen. So unless he's going to be piloting the Yone and then Spyrax gets counterpick mid, where's the magic damage for FlyQuest? What are they going to take here?
3 seconds onto that. Final lock-in, going to come through from FlyQuest, and there's going to be no magic damage, Cubby. They're going full AD to this regard. Final lock-in is Gnar.
This is a very risky draft coming out of FlyQuest. The only magic damage you're going to find is on Yone's kit, his passive. I don't know if that's going to be enough. You're going up against the Scion. I mean, this Scion gets to go Frozen Heart now. You feel so damn efficient with the Frozen Heart if you are Fear.
And it's going to be unkillable.
I think Fear's draft is pretty good. Now, we're going to have to see where that Tristana and the Viger goes. They have until 20 seconds to swap it up.
Okay.
Trist mid's better against the Yone, but the Vigar combo doesn't combo as well with the Rel, but it will be the Vigar bot, so Manui pulling the pick out.
I mean, we've had so many handshakes throughout the earlier games, throughout the earlier drafts. This time, it's a game 5. It is a do-or-die time. Shochi has popped off on the Tristana in the past before. Going to throw that back in. And now Minui being on the Vigar as a last-second change to try and shake things up and make this a hectic fight for FlyQuest. Oh, these adaptions coming in at the most critical time. It's going to be a banger of a game 5, Cubby.
I can't wait to see this. I mean, I can't wait to see how FlyQuest plays this. Like, everything that FlyQuest has had going for him so far, it's been all about Yuji on that Lee Sin Deserex, making plays for this team. This time, I mean, you are FlyQuest. You're running a pretty much all AD composition into Scion. You have to make good plays early if you are FlyQuest. You make any mistakes, any slip-ups, especially if Scion gets any gold, it's going to be so difficult to deal with him throughout the game. So I think FlyQuest, some of the mistakes they made in the last game, they can't even afford to make this game if they want to make sure they pull this one out cleanly.
No, Faisal with the lead makes him an unkillable brick wall. All he has to get is armor. He will be fine up there. So with all that, like as you said, it is that pressure onto FlyQuest to perform early for Yuji to get some early plays going in the name of FlyQuest. Otherwise, Cincinnati Fear can just run with this, and it seems like so far Twitch chat is in favor of Cincinnati Fear. Go ahead and give your love to both of these teams. Spam in Twitch chat who you think will win. Will it be Cincinnati Fear? Will it be FlyQuest? We're going to find out right now.
This is going to be really tough for FlyQuest. Again, no magic damage. No mistakes can be afforded this game by the side of FlyQuest. I think the one advantage you can find Spyrax into the solo lane. I mean, if you get Tristana isolated or you have a Vigar, but even Trist is so hard to make plays into. I think Fear just have to weather the storm. They're going to be even in gold come 15, 20 minutes. And this Scion is going to be so efficient just building armor. Like Frozen Heart is just looking so delectable in the inventory for Faisal.
Looking hot and buyable. Try to bring a Joshi pun out of this one.
Oh, that's okay. That's, yes. It's definitely very viable in this store. Glad we can start game 5 off.
Buyable.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that we can start off game 5 with a bit of a banger. All right, we'll play Deserex.
Goodness gracious. Okay, early pathing. Where do you want to see Yuji go? Where do you want to see Perry go?
Right now, it's looking like Yuji setting up. He's 3 camp. He did skip over the Gromp. Expect him to go Krugs into Raptors here, and then maybe wrap back around, I think, mid. Again, I think FlyQuest, but Yuji playing through mid, enabling Spyrax. If he can get out on the map against Shochi, it is a matchup that's a little bit tougher early for the Yone, but Shochi does have to play up in order to take advantage of that. So maybe if Yuji's able to find a window there, could be good. But credit to Shochi, did use his push to actually get a ward onto the Raptors, which did just die, and Shochi cannot renew it. So Yuji was able to actually get around that. We'll now do the Raptors in Fog, and we'll see if he can decides to make an impact mid. I mean, I think for Fear, it's just all about neutralizing everything that FlyQuest wants to do, right? No magic damage, you have a Scion. That's a simple game plan.
Putting that ward out there is an attempt to neutralize that, spot out where Yuji is going. That's valuable information, getting the pathing of the jungler. And Perry has been responding to a lot of the pathing of Yuji.
Here we go.
So not having that info there means that Yuji can find something. It's going to be a gank into the mid lane. Shochi, simple rocket jump will get away.
Spyrax wasn't... He used the W on the creeps instead of another Q to prep the third Q. I think that made it pretty easy for Shochi to get out. as it will be Perry just up a camp on the first clear. And again, Fear hitting their win cons, right? Nothing happens. It's an even game. That's a win con for Fear, given the draft of this one.
Things going down into the bottom lane now. He's scouting out where the next plan of attack is going to be. Yuji doesn't want to exactly go over towards that bottom lane as the wave is pushed in. But look at this, into the mid lane. Shochi hops right on top of Spyrax. Will get his flash out, but Yuji has arrived.
Good
Rocket
buffer.
jump met with the flash of Shochi. Yuji really closing in to equalize the flashes in the mid lane.
Good buffer and nice reaction from each of our players there as Shochi able to dodge out on that. But hey, Summoner Spell advantage already for Fear. Parry with the answer will be good. And then look at this cheeky little cancel that Trevor's going to get here. It means TP advantage going over to Shochi. He might force a few creeps to be missed here on the side of Spyrax. I love that. Vigar's fine, man. You can't side Vigar. He's chilling.
He's got the baby rage cage. What are you going to do? Dive into it? Dare you? Try it. I know. I know you wish you had one for your roommates after all the shenanigans they were doing in our chat.
Yeah, you know, it's fine.
Wouldn't it be great to just lock them in there? You know,
we don't have to bring them into this Deserex. I can still live out the dream of being solo bolo here. But at the moment, it is FlyQuest that does have to keep things moving as Shochi.
Shochi not going to get caught up by the knockup. But Perry and Yuji meeting in the river. Jungle fight breaking through. Spyrax is waiting over the wall to catch out Shochi in rotation.
That is Faisal mid.
Now Faisal teleports into the mid lane. They're trying to collapse onto Spyrax, who doesn't have flash. So that's first blood going over to Cincinnati Fear.
Oh my god, they had it. Faisal TP'd in and hit the roar on a minion. That helps throw Spyrax. And that's huge. Spyrax already burned TP, so now this mid wave goes to the wayside. Fear already snowballing in here, trying to take some of the Raptors away. Perry gets some. They're going to crash a mid wave too. Fear already have a small lead.
That's economy loss for FlyQuest. And we said this before. If Fear get a lead, especially in this early game where we were expecting early plays to come out from FlyQuest, it is doomed. I don't want to say done and dusted because I'm going to jinx it. I'm going to curse everything. But in this situation, it does look much more doomed if Fear leaves this early game with the lead.
Okay, now, so Shochi did reset after that. It will be the first Dragon going over to FlyQuest. I will take the gold to find Fear. I think that for Fear, you have a scaling comp. If you get gold now, that's a win. Just put your faith in the Scion. I will say, I think Faisal going to go for Sunfire and the Jack Show and then Frozen Heart. I actually would have really liked the Frozen Heart rush this game, so I think that's a small mistake, because now good flash from Philip gets him out of the play from Perry. Perry didn't have flash to follow, so Gnar gets out. A-okay as Fear continue to get small wins on the map.
Philip will match with Perry for the moment being. Just trying to chase him out and still collect more of that info. There was a reset over in the bottom lane on top of that, so nothing for Yuji to really try and catch out right here. It seems like the focus is still going to levitate around this mid lane matchup, Shochi and Spyrax.
And I mean, I think the one thing that can really break what Fear wants to do, we got to put our focus on the Masu, man. I mean, he's the marksman that I think has been making the biggest splash as a rookie. It's a tough game, tough ask for him. But if anyone's going to break it, he does have the winning matchup. He did start Cole, and he's playing out this matchup well. So Masu might be able to rush that BT. And if he can step up and really assert himself in the mid game, that could be one way that FlyQuest could get that gold advantage back in their pockets.
Already been the carry a few times for FlyQuest. More than a few times. You highlight real player. And yeah, that stress on his shoulders. It's going to weigh very, very heavily onto him. Question is, can he dodge out on a lot of what's Cincinnati here have brought? As the Goomba Stomp going to go on to Winsome. Parry over the wall with the body slam. Winsome is low, and Trevor will take the kill.
And Fear just have every answer. And again, this is so bad for the side of FlyQuest, because if you aren't snowballing into this comp, it's just going to be a slow drone. What has been such a closely contested, action-packed series. I mean, this game gets so easy for Fear, given no magic damage. If they get ahead, they just get to play this one out slow. No one on FlyQuest can really deal with their champions. As now Fear, they're already hitting that Rift Herald.
Yuji wants something back, but Trevor's in that brush. Spyrax will take one of the tower shots, looking for priority over onto this mid lane to rotate over.
I mean, they did force Shochi out, and that will actually net them the Rift Herald, so I like that from FlyQuest, and I actually like the respect again from Fear. Like, you are Fear, you are up 1k gold, you should understand, hey, the worst thing we can do is play into what FlyQuest wants to do. That's fight before we have armor. So getting everyone back, seeding this objective, I think that's a good decision from Fear again.
A good move from FlyQuest to know that they had that window and grab that Rift Herald. Speaking of, that will be picked up by Yuji. Yuji will have that in the pocket, and if he wants to accelerate Masu, he can visit into that bottom lane and get things rolling.
For the side of FlyQuest, I mean, again, it's so tough because, like, you have Sejuani Yone and you want to play through mid, but you've seen Shochi be able to buffer, you know, the plays, the knockups from the Sejuani, from the Yone so well. He's kept himself safe mid, has a small lead. So again, like, FlyQuest, their way to actually free up this map is to get Spyrax into a side lane. They really haven't been able to do that. I think Rift Herald, you got to believe that's heading down to Masu, who still does have a lead, is about to pop that Cole, and will have it early BT in base if he wants to start with that. But the rest of the map, I mean, the more gold Sion gets, man, the scarier this game gets for the side of FlyQuest is really what it feels like.
That's a plate right there for Faisal.
Yeah. More
money onto Faisal. Now Yuji still focusing very heavily onto this mid lane, but Shochi is not going to fall victim to these ganks.
Props to Shochi. Again, I think this is a player that I don't want to say has been overlooked from Fear, because I think that Shochi, I don't want to call him a role player, but I think the cool, like, what Shochi does bring to this team, he can play so many styles mid. Like, we've seen him play the Annie, play the Veigar, now he's on the Tristana, we know he can play the Tryndamere, the Seraphine too. The flexibility that he brings with some of his pocket picks for this team, I think we're really seeing shine here in Game 5, is this Tristana Veigar flex, him being able to be like, all right, you know, I can't play the Tristman in this matchup, I can buffer everything, it's fine, I practice this champ. It's been really big again in slowing down what FlyQuest wants to do, and that's important, given the comps.
And FlyQuest are still focusing onto this mid lane, but Shochi is not worried whatsoever. He will take that in his stride completely, and handling this first season within the NACL so well. Again, you did mention that he was a rookie. We've seen him a lot in the Proving Grounds. I remember him to be more of an assassin player,
yeah,
especially with his time in over in Taco Gaming.
Yep.
Great to see him right now.
I mean, I think that, again, Fear, I did praise both staffs coming into the day, that each team has really improved throughout the season to get here.
Yes.
And I think that we're, you know, seeing some of that player improvement even in the series, as the flexibility of Shochi, I think, has been really big already in this game. Just slowing down what FlyQuest wants to do. And some of it was on that Immortals AoE roster, even with Anime Girl. Nearly subbed in for Immortals last year, stepping up in his rookie season as Faisal. I don't know if he gets out of this one.
No, will not be able to escape. It gets away from the ultimate. Wait a second. Wait a second.
No, he's going for the wave. All right, all right.
Okay. Farm it up a little bit more before you do go down.
Fine. Not the Doomsday scenario for Fear. Again, Faisal, nice small win here for FlyQuest. We'll see if Yuji does decide to commit the Herald. But making this play, they do sacrifice the Dragon. That does buy 5 minutes for Fear to get Faisal more armor. So it's not all bad.
Where Faisal's been popping that ultimate to get back into lane quite quickly. That means he has to teleport up so he can catch this wave. It's just going to lose out on quite a few plates, quite a few minions. Not the biggest loss, but still somewhere for FlyQuest to start playing around.
Actually, he's able to get there in time to take up the Herald as well. It's actually a nice amount of XP. Nice. As Faisal will be able to trade out the TPs. And again, Dragon was taken. It's a soul that's not, I think, very much favors Fear, as they have a Scion. So Ocean feels nice, and it helps to slow down the game. I know it's an even game on the scoreboard, but I really think that Fear is set up for success in this one.
Not only is it a Scion, not only does he have 10k health, he heals it back up in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest, they cannot team fight. Like, the Wombo combo from Fear, later in this game, when you have Magnet Storm into Cage, and then you have a Cask to move people into the Cage, playing Rel into melees, it's going to make Spyrax's life so difficult. And so, again, I think the only option for FlyQuest is to side lane. They cannot 5v5 Fear with this draft. It's going to be really... we're going to have to see if we can find the skirmishes. It's going to be really difficult for him, though.
Put Spyrax more into the side lane this time instead of Philip, who... Philip was pretty good condition for the previous game.
They're both going to be there, man. That's like the only option.
So?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's 1-3. It's 2-2-1 time, man. Just try and play through the Spyrax lane.
Still, FlyQuest are over on the river at the time being. Getting a rotation out from Winsome, as they did get the reset from Masu, so they're paying attention to this mid wave, this mid lane once again. Always trying to get something set up into this direction. At least getting some of the deep vision and coverage means that if Shochi wants some aggression back, it is going to be spotted out when Perry's in his jungle.
I mean, deep breath still. It is game 5. I think Fear still are chilling on the scoreboard right now. This has got to be the Fear comfort zone. We've seen what this team can do later stages of the game in this series, even, and throughout this season more so. As again, I mean, I think Fear's comp is very straightforward. Just team fight with Rel, team fight with Kragus, and try to not lose the map on the sides while you do so. You can just stack armor to break it. Plated steel cap's going to feel really good this game on everyone. So again, I think that you're right now in the comfort zone.
Hashtag never done and dusted, Shonatonin. You could put Fear deep into the comfort zone, but for some reason, FlyQuest will find a way to get one pick and suddenly have our hearts beating right out of our chests.
I will say, calling this the most fun series that you've ever watched at any levels, I wish I could drink that Kool-Aid. That's all I'll say. It's been a fun series. I don't know if I put it up there. I've had a blast. I don't know if I put it up there. But hopefully we get a fitting end to what has been a great series so far. At the moment, we can't see FlyQuest, though, trading that second Rift Herald to get gold elsewhere, stretch the map, what FlyQuest has done so well. Sphere will take this for themselves, but we do see Spyrax now in that side lane, working on that bot outer.
Spyrex getting to work down there in the bottom lane, and will catch up in CS with Shochi all the meanwhile. The play going to come out for FlyQuest in the mid lane. They want to find Minui. They do get the ultimate out. Trevor is there to provide protection. Faisal being that wall. Okay. And if you don't get Minui, you're not getting anyone. Fear will be able to back out.
That's exactly what FlyQuest wants, right? Absorb the commit mid, get something elsewhere. Spyrex is continuing to work on this bot side. He got the bot outer. He's going to get this wave in. And that's exactly what FlyQuest is looking to do in this game. Stretch the map. Do not allow Fear to make plays into you. My issue is that I think that Fear has too much armor for them. FlyQuest will just run out of gas in the tank, right? That's what I'm worried about in this game.
See right there, Masu, a lot of patience despite getting stuck in the baby rage cage. Doesn't burn his flash, just takes the damage. Okay, with it, he'll be able to heal back up, and Minui is not at the point where he's doing that incredibly lethal damage that we do get from a Vygar that scales later into the game. I do want to take a look at how many stacks Minui's been able to pick up thus far. If we can ping that for a good old Vygar.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing for him is that he's got the Seraphs working. And again, for FlyQuest, this is the other issue, I think, with the 1-3-1, where you have no magic damage. Naturally, 1-3-1 games, they just last longer, right? Because you're opting into like absorbing more resources and taking less trades, where if you do take a lot of trades and one team wins, then you're going to deny resources from another. That can accelerate game paces quite a bit. 1-3-1, you know, you're trying to absorb, kind of play this push and pull. Usually that's longer game states, and again, will be more armor, more items onto Sion, who we're so worried about in this game.
Fear going up towards this top side, and Spyrax has to burn the ultimate to get underneath the tower. Yuji's there. That threat of the ultimate means it's a hard tower dive for Fear to actually go for, so they'll just abandon the tower.
This is okay, though, right now for Fear. I mean, they're going to get gold, but also there's no play yet onto the dragon as... Minui's dead.
Minui's caught. There goes the Devourer. At that point, not even really needed. Masu will grab that kill onto Minui. Charging in Faisal. Pulls away Philip, but that is a pick for FlyQuest.
Now, can they do this to take the dragon? I mean, FlyQuest stacking up that dragon again. I mean, not a bad win con. You did not that from Fear. You stretched out the map. You could do it by avoiding a team fight. Philip's going to pop Mega here. Some tools were burned by Fly, but at the moment they had to rotate everyone back from defending that Herald play. Going to be a little bit late. Minui doesn't have empowered TP up yet, so it would be member advantage for FlyQuest. But again, FlyQuest, they do not want to opt into the 5v5. They know that they cannot team fight into Rel Gragas. So instead, they take the gold. They're going to get another turret onto Spyrax and get rid of this dragon.
Dragon going over to Cincinnati Fear with no contention coming out from FlyQuest. Let's look at the mid lane again. Winsome getting in with the Abyssal Dive.
Really like the Eat 2 from Winsome. Just gets Masu right out of the cage. Pretty easy to take down Minui. We have some emote spams going down too. So yeah.
That makes him the adult. Take him out of daycare. Getting him to school. Passing with flying colors.
I mean, still deep breaths. I think that it's a gold lead for FlyQuest. Faisal, though, the thing I really credited Faisal for in his play in Amateur was his ability to play weak side and play on his own. I think that that's what made him a really well-rounded top laner. He's been, I think, top 4 in most statistics as a top laner regular season, as Minui doesn't have flash.
Good side step coming out from Minui, and Perry is able to counter-engage. A brilliant cast, but onto the back line goes Spyrax. Minui still alive, though. Magnet Storm pulls Spyrax in, but doesn't protect Minui. Yuji's going to be okay, but Winsome might not be able to say the same thing. Abyssal Dive comes out, or will he? All of FlyQuest survive a very deep dive and take down Minui.
Okay, again, Fly, it's no magic damage, but they're playing this out okay. Philip does have many. He's not going to be able to find much here. But FlyQuest will at least deter the push. They save the mid-outer, and FlyQuest get a little bit of gold.
FlyQuest, they need that gold. They need a lot more of it, because that armor is going to start stacking up soon. You already have one of those components built, the Sunfire Cape coming out from Faisal. More is going to be coming on the way. Trevor down to his first item on top of that. So this has to be momentous for FlyQuest.
It's Jack Show into Frozen Heart. I gotta believe still for Sion. Please, for the love of God, build Frozen Heart this game. You're against 3 auto attackers. It's so good. But I mean, that's really the terror here on the side of Fear. I am surprised that Sion is the only person with armor. I feel like early Zanya's could have been nice for Gragas, extra efficient this game. Or, you know, steel caps for Trist, also considerable, given what you're going into. But no other armor taken. I assume we're going to see Zanya's third for Gragas, but I must say this actually is opening up some windows for FlyQuest to play still. The fact that the armor stack is just not being committed to by Fear.
1.1k gold lead. We're at the 20-minute mark at this point right now. For the most part, towers have gone even. It's one dragon in favor of Fear in comparison to FlyQuest. So Fear playing the map over towards the mid lane, will be able to grab that tower and get it onto both of the carries, both Shoshi and Minui being the recipients of that gold of that turret going down.
This is the one point of the game where I think Philip will be okay into the Scion, as he did just wrap up that Black Cleaver. So I think that as time goes on, I mean, Philip can slightly win the side as Mini, but then once he turns Mega, I mean, Faisal just neutralizes him. So, again, FlyQuest, they're going to try and play out 3 lanes. As you can see Faisal collapsing. Winsome.
It's on to Winsome. Decimating Smash goes out. Oh, they're finding the chain of CC onto Winsome, but it's not enough to take it down just yet. And now joining the fight is going to be FlyQuest. One going to fall by the wayside. Philip can't stay in. Explosive Cast goes out, pulls him into the event horizon. Recall going to be found by Spyrax, gets him to safety. And Cincinnati Fear will take a 1-4-0.
Not enough gas in the tank there for FlyQuest already. As Philip goes down early, Spyrax going to fish, can still find a little bit.
Oh, has that Fates Unbound to try and fish out for some of those kills. Will not get another one, but does put pressure onto Fear.
90 seconds till the next dragon. I'm really curious to see what FlyQuest does around this again, as this would be giving Soul Point away to Fear. We have an even game. We still do favor Fear in this game state. Must say, it will be IE coming in soon, though, for Spyrax. Again, there isn't a ton of armor yet on the side of Fear, so I think that this is, given the, no magic damage on the side of FlyQuest, this is probably the best time that they can team fight, given the armor items that we see on Fear, and then what FlyQuest has in their inventory with the IE Spike for Aphelios, and then likely to come in very soon here for Spyrax once he does reset. So this is a fight I would like to see FlyQuest take.
We'll see if they take it. I mean, it's 50 seconds before that dragon comes up.
I think it's doable.
If FlyQuest want to play it around there.
Minui has no flash. That's really big.
Yeah. I agree with you completely, just off of the armor fact alone. I'm really surprised that Fear are not going for that method, going for that strategy of at least trying to get it a little bit earlier. FlyQuest, what can they do with the fact that Fear haven't stacked up that much yet?
Both side waves are in favor of FlyQuest at the moment. Spyrax is going to reset late. I am assuming that he has IE for this, as TP is committed. No flash on Minui. If I could draw on the screen, I'd draw 4 circles around that summoner spells, as that is all that FlyQuest is thinking about. If they want any hope to try and execute this fight, they have to take down that Vygar and take away the cage, given their very melee-heavy comp. Also, they have to play around Rel Gragas. That's already too much for them. They're actually just going to turn and burn for the Baron, but see what Fear do. Parries Mouse is very fast with Shochi, but they're going to be late to the play. Do FlyQuest even start it? They don't.
No, they don't. They're trying to bait out right now. They're going for Faisal, but Faisal's okay. You got the Event Horizon. You're not getting past that one. FlyQuest are empty-handed, but Trevor jumps in with the ultimate Spyrex onto the backline. It's too late, because Masu has fallen. Fear takes 3. Baron's on the map.
And what we started with in game 1, the Annie execute, trying to find the Tom Kench plus the carry. Game 5, Trevor finds both. And Fear take down 3. They take the Dragon for Soul Point. They take the Baron. And the clock, it's ticking midnight here for FlyQuest. I don't know if Yuji can get in here. This has been a banger of a best of 5, but this game 5 still, it really feels like FlyQuest somewhat going out with a bit of a whimper. As this draft, they just don't have enough power across the map. They can really only play sides. They got murdered in that 5v5 due to the great engage from Trevor.
They got absolutely destroyed. I mean, they tried to get damage on Faisal. He's a tanky boy. He can take care of himself. And now Cincinnati Fear on death's door is going to be FlyQuest, and Fear want to deliver them.
Oh, man. I mean, Fear, it's a 2K gold lead now. Their Soul Point, their comp scales so well, and it's all Trevor. He hack splashes in, finds the Rel combo, finds both Tom Kench and Aphelios. Parry's cast puts him up. No chance of saving Aphelios. That fight looked damn easy for the side of Fear, as the 5 buddies that wanted to play together this entire year, they come together in that 5v5, destroy FlyQuest. Now the map is theirs.
And you felt that spite when Trevor went in on that engage. All these teams that have looked him over, all these teams that have put him by the wayside, and Trevor is laying them into the ground right now, providing mean engage for Cincinnati Fear.
I mean, what can FlyQuest do? Again, you see the Warden's Mail coming in for Faisal. It's going to be a Frozen Heart up next. That's where Sion just becomes Thanos mode. Everyone, your 3 auto attackers start to lose out their auto attack speed once that item is completed. And Fear just gets to melt the map. They're going to be up 5K gold after the Baron just from taking the inner turrets, as the only one they have left to take is top. Spyrex is forced to split. He's back now, but oh no!
Oh, it's on Yuji! Yuji falls! Yuji's down! Cincinnati Fear, they're going for lethal! They've taken down Winsome! They're setting up for the siege! 2 down for FlyQuest! It's a last stand!
And Fear, the miracle run, it's looking to continue as they kept all the receipts you were talking about earlier, Deserex. This was a team, some community members thought they were going to be 15th, 16th. I myself had them bottom 5. I didn't know if they were going to be, in the promotion relegation tournament or not. I had them there originally. And now Fear looking to prove everyone wrong again. Go to top 4s now. 2 inhibitors are down for FlyQuest, and Fear are cruising in this game. It feels more like a victory lap for them than a march.
Not only just proving people wrong, but changing the history of the semi-pro space. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, we talked about how much this means, what it means to get into the top 4 for Fear, for a team that was looked to be a 16th place power ranked squad for a lot of our community members, as you did mention. But goodness gracious, over the season they developed, over the season they've grown. They developed more than just one dimension, more than just the bot lane playing over to the top end. Every single player can step up to be that main character. And now Fear one fight away from trying to take this back, but FlyQuest might be able to get one bounce going into their favor. Minui holds the event horizon. It locks down Winsome, and Primordial Burst pops the Toad.
The 1-for-1 trade. Fear get to continue. They need one more lane to shove down to keep the carries alive. Perry will be back soon. And again, what can you do, Spyrex? They throwing everything into the Scion. That's an even trade. He gets to heal back up as they have the Ocean Dragons 1 minute away from Soul. Fear have 2 inhibitors down. Gotta believe they can play for Soul whenever they want. And they're getting more gold in their pockets. Again, what can Fly do?
Absolutely nothing. Right now, this looks like the end, and it's coming. Slamming down with the decimating smash to put down Yuji. And there's only 1 inhibitor left. Winsome's coming off the respawn, but it's the death push for Cincinnati Fear.
I mean, Fear, they have all 3 inhibitors. I mean, why not just play for Soul, right? You want to make sure this one's safe. Sound what has been a crazy back and forth series. Even in this game, each team had a gold lead. Every game of this series, each team had a gold lead. I think that sums up the series better than anything else that we can talk about. But Fear, they continue to surmount all expectations. Again, I thought this was where their road was end, but Fear, their story, it's still unwritten, and they're here to write some more.
Minion waves charged into the base.
Who needs soul?
Nothing left for FlyQuest. Nexus Tower #1 under attack. Cincinnati Fear waiting to demolish their first step towards success. UG's locked down in the event horizon. Spyrax going for the back line. Can't get anything else. Philip hops back. Nexus Tower #1 gonna fall.
Look at
UG might as well. There comes the event horizon again. Cincinnati Fear, they're doing it. They're taking them down. Another team laid to rest. Fear them, the Grim Reapers of the NACL. A trail of bloodshed left at the door of FlyQuest, and it leaves a message to the top 4. Do you hear the Reaper knocking?
They just aren't here to not be in the promotion relegation tournament. They are here to win the whole thing. Again, talking with Perry, said top 4, it doesn't mean anything to me. I want the trophy in Fear. You got more best of 5s to play. You were tested in this one, but you earned the right to move on. Base Team Liquid, what a series from Fear.
What a series from Fear. What a performance from Fear. Everyone who doubted them, it's out the window right now because they are in the top 4, and damn did they deserve it. We're going to throw it over a break. When we return, we'll have Faisal and Kangas for an interview.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, for our Verizon post-game interview after a banger of a series. We have top laner Faisal from Cincinnati Fear joining us. Congratulations on the win, Faisal.
Thank you so much. That series was tough.
It was so back and forth. Game 5 was maybe the most like one-sided that we had out of all of them. But I want to hear your thoughts. Walk me through the highs and the lows of the series because that was a long one.
Honestly, I can't remember much, but I was just picking a lot of tanks for my team, and we were winning. So that's all I. Like, everything went by so fast. I can't like give one big point. It was just, yeah, it was a lot of games.
Does this often happen for you where you're just so in the zone that you're just like not even like you're not storing memory, you're just focused on what's happening in the game?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the games go by really fast. I don't know if it's because I'm in the zone, but that's just how I function, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, it was 5 games. That's a lot of information to retain. But this is a momentous occasion for the league as a whole, as now this LCS unaffiliated team is pushed into top 4. Hasn't happened in quite a while. And I had a chance to chat with Perry last night about how the team came together, how it was formed, and kind of how you had to shop yourselves around to different teams. So talk me through the beginning process from your perspective when you were first approached of, hey, we're like, let's get a team together. Let's start this process. And what expectations you had for the team based on who came together.
Well, after my split on EG, I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. I played tryouts and stuff, but I don't think it went too well. So also in the offseason, we just formed as a team, as a collective 5, because we thought we would work together. And yeah, we basically all thought we were like a good team, like we're good players, and we didn't want to like get mixed and matched between other teams. So we just decided to stick as 5 players and just tough it out. But my expectations for this split was like not even close to top 4. I thought, like, I remember at my first match playing Team Liquid, I didn't even expect us to like take it 1-1. So that was like, I was screaming when we won because I had no expectations for this split, to be honest.
When did you realize that something special was happening here? If expectations weren't there at the beginning, right when the roster came together, was there a moment where you're like, oh, all right, it's clicking. Now I think we're going to be a threat?
Okay, well, honestly, it's just in our matches. I feel like we play as a team. In our scrims, we usually do the opposite. So it's never really a good time in our scrims, but we try to make it work. But yeah, on match day, like, we all give it more than 100%. We are super serious about the game, and that's when I thought, like, we just need to, like, if we can bring this in scrims, we'll learn so much. And this week, like last week, we did, and I thought we improved a lot.
All right, so maybe more recent than expected there. So when expectations were rising. I want to go to you as an individual, as we do see the Grim Reaper running around behind you. Thank you, Shochi, for being the mascot for the team. You individually, this is your highest placement in a bracket format. Last year, your previous highest in summer, you were actually knocked out by 3/5 of this FlyQuest core. What did it mean for you to, kind of step up and have such a strong performance and get kind of redemption for how last year went?
honestly, I don't really hold grudges. I wasn't thinking about that going in the game, but like I don't think it hit me yet that we made top 4. But yeah, I'm just like grooving right now. I don't really mind. It's just like a normal day for me. I don't really feel special at all.
Normal day, nothing special. An average day for Faisal, the top lane here. How do you see yourself changing from last year, Faisal, to now current form, your version of yourself? Is there a big difference in your eyes? Because from our perspective, we've seen an increase in performance, and we're now ranking you towards the top as one of the most threatening top laners in the league.
So basically, I've always kind of had mental block going against academy teams, being on amateur teams. Like, I never really got to scrim them much, but this split, like, before this split, I put them, like, on a pedestal. I thought they were, like, way better than me, but playing this split, I mean, kind of showed me that, like, they're not that good, and I could compete with them pretty easily.
All right, it's the mental block, having confidence in yourself, believing that you can compete at that level. That's what I'm getting from that?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Faisal, for coming on, chatting with us, and everybody for the team hanging out behind you. Awesome to see everybody hanging out in the same house. Do you have any shout-outs, any final words you want to give before we let you go and celebrate with the team?
Shout out my teammates. I mean, on match days, we're actually a real team, so it's fun playing. Shout out Cade, the manager, performance coach, helps with a lot. Shout out my family and friends. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, what?
Shout out my coach and my analyst. I forgot about that.
Hey, do you want to name them?
Cal and Xavier.
Shout outs to the coaches, to the analysts, for everybody at Cincinnati if you're making this miracle run happen. And I'm sure that you'll have a lot of support continuing on into the top 4. We'll be watching with a lot of excitement.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, been for World of Faisal. There's the team hanging up on. Their interviews are so fun, man.
In the background with the Grim Reaper outfit.
Gets us every time. Man. Gets us every time. I love when you get those little snippets, though, Cubby, of the difference between their stage games and what the team's like during the script.
I feel like Faisal was like throwing some shade at his team. Like, you know, on match days, we actually play like a team. But hey, you know, when you see a team celebrating like that, you know, together, I know that, you know, things change, time changed. League of Legends, it's evolved a lot in the 10 years. Gaming houses are fun, man. I gotta say, they look like they're having a blast over there, and that's what a team looks like, not just on the Rift, but also off the Rift. I think that always plays a big part of it. You know, if you're gonna be a team, you have to be a team through and through, not just in your job. Here looks like they have that going for them, just, you know, how they interact with each other outside the game. And it's really cool to see. This is one of the cooler stories I've experienced in my years of covering, developing League of Legends. Watching what Fear's been able to do with the expansion, how far they've gotten, and honestly, the middle fingers they've been throwing at the orgs that passed them up as they were making decisions throughout this year. They said they wanted to play as a 5-stack. They are doing so. They are a top 4, and they have the chance to go even further.
You know, it's easy to get carried away in that type of lifestyle of having a game house. I mentioned it during the cast, though. They have perfected that balance of both being teammates and being friends. And it just shows you with that interview, man. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper Naruto run, I mean, you can't make that up, you know?
Well, let's see how they're running up the bracket, because they are zooming through the competition. We had FlyQuest Challengers as the provisional team killers, but they were slayed today, 3-2 in favor of Fear, and now they move on to face off against Team Liquid Challengers.
I just want to say, anyone that had Fear as a top 4 team in NACL, you know, before the season started, A, you're a time traveler and you should buy a lottery ticket, or B, whatever you were, you know, doing to bring yourself to that decision. Wow, that's I don't know what that is, but it's some dark technology. As I mean, again, cannot emphasize enough just what a story this is, having a provisional team go this far, and the way they're doing it, how they've improved as a team, how they're playing as a team, the strats they're running. They're actually innovating the league and forcing the challengers teams with more resources to step up to what they're doing, have another great chance to do so against TL next week.
And they're doing it so nonchalantly, too. Like, even that interview with Faisal, he was like, I don't think it's anything special, really. Like, we have the expectations. It's just remove the mental block, show up on the game days, even if, you know, there's hints of maybe strife during script days. Maybe we'll do some investigative journalism, see what's going on at the gaming house. But the way that they're doing it is also winning over a lot of fans.
I mean,
won me over.
can't help but root for him. Like, they are the underdog story. It's really cool to see. Also, I know that we didn't have Trevor for the interview. I just want to say, Trevor, you are my MVP of that series. I think it's very clear as how well as Trevor has played. Doing that into Winsome, who has gotten a lot of deserved credit. I want to give a lot of credit to Trevor, who deserves credit for his play. Hasn't gotten that throughout his career, and definitely does, given his play today.
I will probably get in trouble for this, but I will out him because I learned today that he has refused to do an interview unless they win the whole thing. That's the only time that he will do an interview. So if you want to see Trevor on camera doing an interview, you got to be rooting for Fear to win the entire event. Let's catch up on the rest of the week because, of course, this is the close of another week of NACL brackets with our Samsung SSD Fast 5. Take a look at some of the coolest stats and the fastest completions for players throughout the week. As these populate, I'm going to do the normal. Each of you take your time and then decide which is you think the most impressive of the stats you see on the screen.
39-second first kill ain't bad, you know?
That's not too bad.
Prismal 1 minute ahead. Also, I love how Destiny and Draco are like both as Herald spawns, you know? I get scripted.
Ah, interesting. Banger. Interesting. I wonder if that has something to do with setting up for the Heralds. Probably not. But
who knows?
Prismal is I wonder what champ that was on. I think 6 seconds is the fastest I've ever seen a support item transform on one of these before, but 39 seconds for first kill, impressive for loss. So that's our Samsung SSD Fast 5. We are seeing less and less teams, less and less players on these, and we will continue to see less and less as the best of 5s continue in the top 4 teams of the entire split.
Before we let this go, I'm just going to say, props to Darshan. You know, he's playing, what was it, like Overwatch for a month before he actually came in? Valorant, thank you.
You got to keep it Riot branded here, you know?
I mean, we talked about Gomstu being an Overwatch pro on stream for like a whole year. So
I mean, it actually was Valorant. Also, that's, you know, being accurate, but, you know, I'm just making a joke. I've gone corporate this split. That's you know.
He's leaning into the brand. That's what we're learning.
Hey, besides that, shout out to FlyQuest. They had a great year. I think that Winsome stepping into this team made a big impact. I think we saw a lot of growth out of everyone. And I know that this is not how FlyQuest wanted to go out, but I think it was a hell of a split from them. And excited to see more next year. The only way we're not seeing that team as a 5-stack is if someone goes LCS. I think it's the biggest compliment I can give them.
Pretty much, especially shout out to Masu, the rookie, for coming in and having an incredible first split. But that will be the last we see of them. We have 4 teams remaining in the rest of the bracket, and that means we'll have games returning next week on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to go raid Soul, or as Cubby called them, Anime Girl, earlier on the stream with the name change coming in.
Also historically accurate.
Also historically accurate. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and watching this stream. Thank you to the producers for keeping the gears rolling, to my lovely casters on the desk with me, as well as all the players for putting on the performance that they did. We'll be back next week with more LCS Challengers action. I'll see you there.